I have something very similar to the starter code I give. It's much smaller. Notice at the beginning on line 1, I have var I equals 0. I've initialized and declared a variable at the same spot. I have a variable I. It's starting at 0. I stands for increment. It's very common in computer science to use I. The letter next to I is J, so often that's the next letter. Like in math class, XYZ, right? MNO and ABC. It's always in triplets probably. So in computer science, we like I stands for increment. I's only job right now is to keep track of how many times this code has repeated. Notice that I don't have a draw loop, but I do have this while loop. So I see 10 circles on the screen. One of them's cut off because it begins at 0, 0 being the center. So that's why that one's there. And if we count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, we have 10 circles. This was also a quiz question given to you very early on, seeing if you could think about what happens, and most of you got it. And we're just building on that and understanding what the heck's happening. So in Game Lab, it has something called a debugger. A debugger is a tool to help walk through your code to understand what's going on. Let's say you have a very complex program, and it becomes so complex to the point where your brain can't hold all those different variables. Programmers have made this tool for a debugger to help you manage some of that like variable, some of the data, and to figure out what the heck's happening in your code. In Game Lab, you can start by setting a breakpoint, so it tells the code to pause right here, and then I can tell Game Lab or the computer, go through this line by line, and I want you to notice how things repeat, okay? So I'm going to run this code, run. Notice at the very beginning, it runs, I have the variable I. Let's check in this watch area, I can see that I right now is 0. And then it paused right at the while loop. I'm going to tell the computer, execute the next line of code. Step in. It does something, I think. So right now it's checking, is 0 less than 10? It says yes, I think. Go please. Step in. No? Did I do it wrong? It was working before. Why don't I pause it in here? Let's see. Reset, run, step in. What happened? Darn it. All right, step in, step in, step in, step over, step out. Darn it. Yeah, it's supposed to grow by 1. I wonder it's because if I'm watching it. So reset, run, step in, step in, step in, step in. Okay, pause. Let's pause you way up here. Run. Go, go, go. Okay, I pause you down here. Reset, run. Blast. Huh? Thanks. Let's try this. Okay. First the page, code lab, game lab, please work. Again, so this thing's hidden down here, show debug commands. We're going to pause it right at the beginning of your loop. We're going to run the code. Notice we see nothing on the screen. And then we step in. And right now, it's really subtle, but there's a yellow highlight. Thank you, Jesse. Right now, we add it. It's still at 0. So right now, it's drawing your ellipse at 40 times 0, which is 0. We'll step in. So notice the first circle appeared. Then we add, we tell I to grow by 1. So what's 0 plus 1? 1. And notice we're watching down here now. If I press step in, notice then your I grew in 1 value. Notice then what's highlighted is this while loop, this block. It jumps back up to this part. It compares. Is I currently less than 10? Yes, it is. We step in. Looks like we're going to draw an ellipse. Watch the highlight. 40 times now 1. So it's over in the x-coordinate, 40 pixels. There's your second circle. And then the code repeats. And each time I step in, notice the parts of the code that's repeating. Until the very end, we're up to 9. 9 is less than 10. So 9 times 40 is 360 pixels. That's the last circle being drawn. It grows to 10. And this is the important part. You analyze what happens at the beginning and at the end. That's what usually gets you. There's often off by 1 error. So since it's strictly less than, is 10 less than 10? Nope. So notice at this point, after it was highlighting this while loop, it just stops running at this point because it's no longer true. It's like an if statement that repeats over and over again. Yeah? Let's try to make things more complicated. Let's try to change the color. Let's have it alternate between colors. So then we use what we know from before. This is conditional behavior. We're going to change the stroke color. And let's see. Let's have the first half be blue and the other part be red. So if my first half, if my variable I, notice I'm just making a comparison, I'm not so much using it or using the assignment operator. Let's have I less than, greater than or equal to, well, let's phrase it this way. Yeah, if 5 is greater than or equal to 5, then we're going to change the color. So where's my fill? I said we wanted it to be blue. Let's see what happens. Reset, run. Oh, I still have the pause. So we step in, step in, step in. Oh, it's blue. Nice. Oh, wait. My last couple circles, they're not red. I haven't added that code in yet. Anyone got a suggestion on how we get the later half of these circles to be red colored? There's multiple ways to go about this. What block should I use, or what keyword should I use? You're thinking, you're thinking. The answer in this case is not Vinos, but you may consult Vinos to give you some guidance. How do I get the last 5 circles to be red colored? What would help me out there? Yes. Yeah, we can do another comparison. Thank you. So maybe we can do another if block. And now we'll do the opposite. Now if I is greater than 5, so I drag this thing over. If I is now greater than 5, let's change my stroke. Or change my fill. It's going to be red now. And again, for practice sake, I want you to pay attention to what code is being repeated. Notice now your code, it jumps around from places. It skips over lines, it repeats lines a couple of times. This is where stuff starts getting complicated. Blue, blue. Notice that each if statement runs, although it may not generate something. And now we have the other half being red. And then the code stops running. Looks like it's the last 4. I messed up. Because we started at 0, maybe this one should be 4, this one should be 4. Because we started counting at 0. Reset, run. Very subtle difference. Run. Step in. Blue, blue. 3, 4, 5. Red, 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 red. Okay, so mission accomplished. So when you have more complicated code, I don't think CodePen has a normal debugger. The thought process I want you to think about is line by line. What's being repeated? You may want to sketch down your variables to keep track of whatever things being incremented, or if you have a bunch of variables, try writing them down, updating them each time. That's what I wanted to demonstrate in today's lesson through GameLab. You can also do your assignments back in GameLab. We don't need to longer have the 3D option.